Fox Sports.
We are Fox. We are Wisconsin.
Wrigley Field is alive and well. They are hopeful for a postseason this year. They're in great shape to do just that. It's game 2 tonight from Wrigley Field. The Brewers and the Cubs. Chicago comes in just 2 games back of the Pittsburgh Pirates for the top wild card spot. They're 9.5 clear of the San Francisco Giants. So they know they're going to be headed to the postseason. They're still 6 games back of the Cardinals. It's not out of the question just yet. Hi, everybody. We welcome you from Wrigley Field. Brian Anderson along with Bill Schroeder. Sophia Minard is our reporter tonight. And the winds of change are here. A general manager yesterday announced, and today the Brewers promote 6 players from the Biloxi Shuckers. It's Biloxi Shuckers baseball tonight here in Chicago.
Yeah, it's unfortunate it didn't win the Southern League Championship, so that disappointment went from elation when they were found out after the game that these guys were coming up, 6 of them, and interestingly enough, 2 of the biggest prospects down there are not here. They weren't on the roster, don't have to start that clock on Brett Phillips and Arcia, 2 big guys, but you expect some of these guys to really get some playing time. Why bring them up if you're not going to use them? So all these guys we've been hearing about, reading about, looking at their numbers, we're going to get a chance to take a look at them. These 2 guys right here are going to be available in the bullpen today. A couple of the guys not. They pitched yesterday. Michael Reed, an outfielder from your neck of the woods, Texas. Right. So it's going to be interesting to see these guys. You know, in a situation like this where the Brewers don't have a whole lot to play for, it's good to have the excitement and enthusiasm some of these young guys coming up.
Well, they'll all be making their major league debuts with the exception of Tyler Wagner. The Brewers are going to get a first-hand look at one of the best pitchers in baseball this year. Cy Young Award candidate Jake Arrieta goes for his 20th win of the season tonight. It's Brewers Cubs, and it's next. There he is, a Cy Young candidate coming down between he and Zach Greinke, Clayton Kershaw. Those are your 3 front runners for the Cy Young Award. Jake Arrieta and the Cubs Matching up against the Brew Crew tonight. Brewers baseball presented by Potawatomi Hotel and Casino. Book your stay now. We hit late September. The days are getting shorter. That touch of fall is in the air. It's just a gorgeous night for baseball here in Chicago. 73 degrees. Wrigley Field the site. Second game of this 3-game series. The Brewers will wrap it up here tomorrow night. There's Craig Counsell in his first year as the Brewers manager. He's got a new general manager as his boss, David Stearns, and I'm sure he's got eyes on this one here tonight. And Counsell has some reinforcements to go to tonight. His batting order looks like this. Scooter Gennett leads off, Logan Schaefer, then Adam Lind. Middle of the order is Chris Davis, Domingo Santana, and Gene Segura. Hernan Perez will play third. Martin Maldonado catches. Tyler Cravey on the mound in what Counsell called a bullpen day. Don't expect too many innings out of Cravey. He's going to use his relievers handily today. And the Cubs are hoping Arrieta can do what he's been doing, and that's pitch deep into ball games.
Yeah, you expect a lot of innings out of him. 8+ innings in each of his last 4 starts. He's got 17 consecutive quality starts. And, you know, the accolades go on and on for Arrieta. He's won 13 of his last 14 decisions. But 1-1 this year against the Brewers. The Brewers beat him early in the season this year.
First pitch of the ball game on the way from Arrieta, and it's in there for a strike, and he comes in there at 96 miles an hour. His first bolt out of the bullpen. He's got a big fastball, has all the pitches. This is a guy that started to show signs of an ace as Gennett goes to the opposite field, and that's down into the corner. Scooter's on his way to second base. Now it gets by Schwarber. And Gennett will hold up at second, so there's a good start. A leadoff double for Scooter Gennett.
And that's the way the game started yesterday. Gennett and Schaefer with base hits. The Brewers able to put up 2 runs in the first inning in yesterday's ball game. Aided by an error. Good approach by Scooter, taking that pitch away from him. It was up and away, and just tucks it inside that left field line for a leadoff double.
Now the Cubs, one of the worst defensive teams in the National League and in the major leagues. Schwarber, a catcher who's playing the outfield to keep his bat in the lineup. Misplayed that one a bit, but didn't affect Gennett. Here's Logan Schaefer now. Same 8 position players in the starting lineup tonight as we saw last night. But Craig Counsell did mention that the position players called up from Biloxi are going to get some playing time. They're going to be part of the mix. And this is evaluation time for the Brewers. And it is very rare to have 6 players come up from a minor league team, especially from a Double-A minor league team, with 2 weeks remaining in the season. It might be, I mean, it's hard to track this, but it might be one of the first occasions where that has happened.
Yeah, very unusual. And you wonder where the guys from AAA are in the call up. They've been here most of the year. That's right. Yeah, that's the kind of the situation the Brewers have been in with injuries and things like that. A lot of the AAA guys are here already. But 6, that's an awful lot from Double-A.
Well, no Ryan Braun again tonight. He did take batting practice. He's hoping to come through that and be available tomorrow. Braun did tell us yesterday that he is going to require back surgery at the end of the year, a minor procedure on a herniated disc. There's a broken bat grounder, but that'll do the job. Gennett advances to third base. Schaefer is out, but the Brewers have one 90 feet away.
Arrieta likes that fastball for sure. He's a strikeout pitcher, but he's going to need some defense. The Chicago Cubs committed 3 errors in yesterday's game, but still able to pick up a win. Your Menards Cubs defense, you got Schwarber, Fowler, and Coghlan in the outfield. You got Coghlan out in right. He did not start in yesterday's ball game. Now Bryant, Baez, Castro, and Rizzo from third to first, and Miguel Montero behind home plate. 4th start at shortstop for Javier Baez.
Now just giving Addison Russell a day off, said Joe Madden. No injuries there, nothing to report, just wants to give him a breather. As Adam Lind, a big swing and a miss. That was a little cutter from Arrieta at 91 miles an hour with a wrinkle. What a year Lind's having, right? His 20th homer of the season last night. Adam with 86 runs batted in. So he's pushing another 90 RBI season. And Arrieta's got him down in the hole 0-2. Powerball home run numbers for Adam Lind. He had 35 in 09 with the Blue Jays. That was a healthy season. He's had a healthy season this season. And his Powerball home run number 20 came to the opposite field, and that tied the game last night.
He hit that one well to the opposite field. A pitch up and away. Brewers need a couple of those tonight.
And Lynn fouls this one away, hanging in there 0-2.
And amongst the many things that Arrieta's done well, keeping the ball in the ballpark is one of them. Only 10 home runs allowed. 209 strikeouts to go along with only 47 walks for Arrieta. Up amongst league leaders in just about every positive pitching category in the league.
Infield in for the Cubs, and the 0-2 pitch. Look out. Yikes, right across his forearm. That is 95 miles an hour with a little cut action on it.
Cutter, slider, curveball for Arrieta. Got the fastball and he can rush up there. Tops out maybe once in a while in 98. See the infield in for Chicago.
Joe Maddon feeling like he wants to cut off a run here potentially. And Arrieta deals it, and it's outside for a ball.
Normally he wouldn't do this early in the game, but I think Joe Maddon wants to see his pitcher win an ERA title. In his first inning, infield in with your number 3 hitter up. Unusual.
Very good point right there. That ERA title might be the difference in a Cy Young Award this season, or not. And a swing and a miss. Arrieta strikes out Lynn. 2 outs in the inning. Arrieta comes in with an ERA of 1.96. That is second to Greinke, who's at 1.65, and that's just a nasty breaking ball.
Good curveball. You see it come out, that 12-6 rotation, and bouncing in front of home plate. Lynn can't hold up.
His stuff is electric. Has a very overpowering fastball. His curveball is the same speed as most sliders, and his cut fastball is as fast as most fastballs as well. Most high velocity fastballs. He's the National League leader in victories with 19, one ahead of Bumgarner. He's up there among league leaders in strikeouts and innings pitched. 4th in strikeouts, 3rd in innings. As Davis in the air, left center field, that is playable. Fowler is there, and the Brewers let an opportunity go by against Jake Arrieta. Brought to you by Menards. Save big money at Menards on all your home improvement needs. By Toyota. See where Toyota takes you. Test drive one at your Toyota dealers. Toyota, let's go places. And by Miller Lite, the original light Pilsner. Cheers. It's Miller time. Another night game at Wrigley Field. We'll do it again tomorrow night as well to wrap up our Wrigley Field season. No score. Cubs Brewers. Cubs are coming up. Joe Madden in his first year, and what a season it has been. 26 games over 500. Cubs are in great shape to make the postseason. He's got Fowler, Schwarber, and Bryant at the top. Rizzo, Castro, Coughlin in the middle. Montero, Baez, and Arrieta rounding out the order. The only change there is Baez at short for Addison Russell. And Tyler Cravey on the mound for the Brewers. Well, he's got to be thrilled to get a start here tonight. He made 5 starts prior to this one. First start was against the St. Louis Cardinals, and he pitched very well. But Rockies been pitching out of the bullpen. He's been in and out. The ERA is high, and he had an elbow injury that he came back from a couple of weeks ago.
And really nothing to lose. So you expect Cravey to go out there full guns a-blazing tonight, throwing all of his pitches. His last start came on August 18th at home against the Marlins. 2 2/3, 7 hits, 7 runs, 4 earned runs. Still looking for his first major league win. This would be a nice feather in the cap. He's able to get one tonight.
Cravey at 26 years of age. Very good success in the minor leagues. You put him in that group of minor league players that the Brewers are getting a long look at this year. This is actually his 4th stint in the big leagues. Up and down from Milwaukee to Colorado Springs. He was a starter at Colorado Springs. 7-7 with a 3.97 ERA. Those are actually good numbers in Colorado Springs, a hitter-friendly ballpark and league. And a strike thrower typically is Cravey. Has to be effective.
Yeah, he's got to keep that sinker down. It's been up in the strike zone quite a bit. He's got the good changeup to go with it, the slider. Well, when he was right, when he was pitching against the Cardinals in that first start, gave up only 1 run. Changeup, really good pitch for him. He kept it down in the zone.
Dexter Fowler lines one to right, base hit. The Cubs can swing the bat. They've got a top 5 offense in just about every major category. They do strike out a lot, but this is the Cubs ball club that can really swing it up and down as we take a look at the Brewers Menards defense.
Now, the Brewers want to hang in here tonight. They're going to have to play solid defensively and help Cravey out. Davis, Schaefer, and Santana in the outfield. You got Perez, Segura, and Jeanette up the middle. Adam Lind at first, and Martin Maldonado behind home plate.
Well, Jonathan Lucroy did take ground balls at first base today and figures to get playing time before the season ends at first base. But no Lucroy, no Braun in the lineup. And we're still waiting word on Braun whether he'll be able to continue on this season or not. It's one of the reasons why the Brewers brought up so many players from the AA level, specifically Michael Reed, to play the outfield and give him some depth. Kyle Schwarber, a breakout season in his rookie season. There have been 2 rookies who were both in the 2014 draft that have made major impacts on their postseason contending teams. Michael Conforto of the Mets and Kyle Schwarber here with the Cubs. Schwarber was the 4th overall pick in the 14 draft. And the first position player to make it to the big leagues. Brandon Finnegan was the first player overall to make it, and he is now with the Reds. He came up with the Royals last year.
He made a start against the Brewers on the last homestand.
Ground ball to second. Jeanette over to Segura, and the turn, low throw, but dug out by Adam Lind. Nice play.
Yeah, those are the plays you got to make. You can't give the Cubs extra outs. You figure the margins are going to be very tight for the Brewers defense with Arrieta out on the mound. Can't be given extra outs, and nice pick by Lind to be able to get the double play. And with Schwarber running, this is about as routine as it gets, but Segura's throw, and in between hop, and a great pick by Lind. He keeps the foot on the bag.
The Brewers have not been as consistent as you'd like turning double plays. There's been a lot of base runners lately. Starting pitchers having a tough time getting deep in games as Chris Bryant lets one loose on the first swing, and comes up empty. This Cubs lineup just keeps coming at you. They've got power up and down the batting order. They've actually got more power tonight than they did last night, with Javier Baez in there playing shortstop.
He might lose a little bit defensively with Addison Russo out of the lineup, but you talk to Joe Madden, he'll tell you Baez has him doing a pretty good job out there defensively. He can play all over the place.
Madden's trying to figure out his postseason roster. He wouldn't tell you that because he hasn't solidified a postseason spot yet, but they are 9.5 games clear of the San Francisco Giants for that second wild card spot. So these are big games for players like Baez. There's a called strike 3 as Cravey rings up Chris Bryant to end the inning. Arrieta, Tyler Cravey. See where Arrieta ranks. You can put DeGrom on the list. Even Kershaw. Kershaw's had a dominating year with strikeouts, and the ERA continues to drop. He's had a very impressive season, but for me it looks like a 2-horse race right now between Arrieta and Zach Greinke. Not that Kershaw doesn't deserve it. I think, however, the final 2 weeks goes will determine who wins the Cy Young Award. That's how close it is.
It would be Zach Greinke's second Cy Young, one in the American League.
Only case I'll make for Arrieta, being in this division, watching games as we do in this division all the time, the ballparks that you play mostly in are hitter-friendly ballparks. Talking about Cincinnati, Milwaukee, Wrigley Field in the summer. And if you're looking for any kind of argument, not that Zach Greinke doesn't deserve the nod, you can't have a wrong choice in that one. Santana strikes out, and Domingo is the second strikeout for Arrieta. Brock, we never saw this coming when he was with the Baltimore Orioles. As a matter of fact, they gave up on him. They traded him to the Cubs. He finally showed some signs last year, but nothing like what we're seeing this year. Yeah,
just very average numbers with the Baltimore Orioles, but the Cubs allowed him to be himself, and the numbers speak for themselves. 10-5 last year, 19-6 this year, and just has dominated major league hitters this year. 145 hits, including that one by Jeanette, in 208 innings. Incredible.
Well, he made 25 starts last year, had an ERA of 2.53. That was a career best for him. And during his years with the Orioles, his earned run average in his 4 years, and Rick Kranitz was his pitching coach back then for a couple of those seasons, one of those seasons actually, his earned run average as an Oriole was 5.46. and he was 5 games under 500. So, you know, when you look at pitchers like Jimmy Nelson and Willie Peralta, guys who have been in the big leagues for a couple of years now and are still showing some inconsistencies, when you have stuff like those guys do, and I would say they have Arrieta type stuff, if you put it all together, you're hoping they can emerge like this. It doesn't happen very often, but it happens.
Well, very similar stuff. I mean, you know, they throw the fastball hard. They got a slider, occasional curveball. Arrieta's shown a couple of curveballs here tonight. He struck out Lind on a curveball, just threw one to Perez. It's a learning curve. Some guys take a little bit longer to figure it out, and that's what the Brewers are hoping for in their young starters.
Arrieta is 29 years of age as Perez takes a ball.
You love the way, you know, how quickly Arrieta works. I mean, even when there's guys on base, he works relatively quickly. A lot of guys that work quickly with nobody on. When there's men on base, they slow down a lot, but not Arrieta.
Joe Madden has lined Arrieta up to pitch in the wild card game, which would be October 7th. Cubs are still hoping they can leapfrog the Pirates and host that wild card game. That's a play-in. That's a 1-game win or go home play-in, and if you win, you enter into the division series. And as it stands right now, that would be against the St. Louis Cardinals. As Perez strikes out, Arrieta a dominant second inning with a couple of Ks.
At Wrigley Field, the Brewers recalling 6 from the Biloxi Shuckers, 5 of whom are making their Major League debut, and it has been a wild 24 hours for this group. They finished their season. Game 5 dropped the Southern League Championship Series. Then this morning, headed to the airport from Chattanooga. Tyler Wagner also tweeted a selfie of the guys making their way from Atlanta to Chicago, and then finally this afternoon, arriving here at Wrigley Field, taking their obligatory photo by the Ivy. And talking with Yadiel Rivera and Michael Reed, they said certainly it was quite the emotional swing to lose that Game 5, the disappointment of finishing their season with the loss, then the excitement when Carlos Subero told them they were getting the call up to the big leagues. They said they wouldn't trade it, and I think Michael Reed said it best. He said it was a very talented team, the best team he's ever been on, and certainly hopeful that they are just a few of that group that will make it to the big leagues.
All right, Sophia, good report, good stuff, good photos. There's Tyler Wagner sitting next to Pena there, and he's the only one of the 6 that has actually played in the major leagues, as Anthony Rizzo starts the bottom of the 2nd inning.
And when you consider 2 of the best prospects down there in Biloxi aren't even here, when you talk about Arcia and Phillips, those are the guys who are getting a lot of the press and everybody talking about those 2 guys, you know, here in Milwaukee, you know, most of the time. And That is a talented team down there, this year in Biloxi. Incredible season that they had. They should be very proud, and capped off with a trip to the big leagues. The ultimate prize.
1-2 pitch to Rizzo, and he fouls it back. And it means a lot. We get stuck here with the big leagues. Every day we're watching big league baseball, and you're watching with us. So you have to know that there's so much work that goes into the player development side, and it is a huge feather in the cap for the organization to have one player make it to the major leagues, much less 6 in the same day. As Cravey takes something off, and he strikes out Anthony Rizzo. So back-to-back Ks for him. Bryant to end the first, and now Rizzo to start the second.
Tough guy for the Brewers to get out all season long. There's that good changeup down in the zone. And another good block is a little splitter. A split change for Cravey, and gets Rizzo chasing it in the dirt.
Starlin Castro. Well, Castro lost his job to rookie Addison Russell. Joe Madden made it clear when that went down that this was not a day off. We are not giving you rest. This is a demotion. You are a bench player. Castro, a little flare in the left field. That falls for a base hit. On his way to second, Davis's throw comes in late. And that'll be a flare single. Second hit for the Cubs.
When that ball was up in the air a long time, Davis was playing deep out there in left. Good pitch by Cravey, jamming Castro. And look how far Davis has to go to get to this baseball. Good throw in his second base, keep Castro at first.
Bad jumps by everybody.
Yeah, Castro thinks that's an out or a foul ball by the time he starts to run. Too late.
He had 2 bad jumps and no jump. Castro and Davis with bad jumps, and Adam Lind with no jump at all.
Yeah, he didn't go back to first base, so no throw for Jeanette.
Castro could go as far as he wanted. Chris Coughlin with a man on and one away.
In Lind's defense, normally first base is going to be backing up the throw from left field into second base. I think he thought it was for sure a double, but Castro just wasn't running.
Well, Castro has earned his way back in the lineup. He's really swinging the bat well. He's hitting over 400 in about the last month of games, and so he is there more often than not at second base. But Javier Baez is waiting in the wings. Cubs are deep. They've got a lot of talent. They got Soler back from the disabled list. He hit a 3-run home run last night. He's not a lock to make the postseason roster. They got to make sure he's healthy. Had an oblique injury. Those can be tricky. Cravey's got good velocity tonight. He's working in the 92-93 mile-an-hour range. Shown a good changeup already. That split change.
And why not? Reach back and let her fly. Craig Counsell has said it's going to be a bullpen game tonight, so go as long as you can. You don't have to save anything. Give it all you have for as long as you can.
Perfect spot to be for a pitcher like Cravey, the underdog position. That's a sweet spot in the game of baseball. That's why matchups like Cravey and Arrieta can sometimes go upside down. Just never know with this game. Arrieta's got his ace stuff though quickly. Jeanette had a leadoff double, and Brewers haven't been close since. There's a walk. Boy, he's not missing by much. But Coughlin, very patient at the plate, draws a walk, and suddenly 2 on with 1 out for Chicago.
Cubs pretty patient at the plate. They strike out a lot. They walk a lot. They can hit homers. One thing you can't do, you can't make errors. You can't walk guys with this Cubs lineup. They can come at you from 1 to 8 in the lineup.
And with all of these young players, guys like Rizzo, who's still young but been here a few years, and Miguel Montero, who has nearly a decade in the big leagues, become important pieces for Joe Madden. Montero knows what a pennant race feels like. He was on that Arizona ball club that went to the postseason, matching up against the Brewers back in 11. Two on, one out. Joe Maddon doing all he can to keep his team loose as well. Today they had exotic animals in the outfield. Maddon told his team after the game last night, show up tomorrow at 3 o'clock with your families. Montero lines one to right. Santana's got it. And the second out. So instead of they did take batting practice, but instead of like a full early workout, it was zoo day here at Wrigley Field. There was a leopard, and Joe Maddon brought a sloth, and there was a Chilean flamingo, a penguin hanging out at Wrigley Field, and Chris Bryant and the Cubs and all their families. I think that's a sloth, isn't it, Rock?
I think it is, yeah. You know, penguins can be mean.
They snap.
You got to be careful with penguins.
They'll get you.
You know, I was walking through Lincoln Park Zoo today.
That was a lemur, by the way. I beg your pardon.
Whatever. I was walking through Lincoln Park Zoo today. It was about noon, and there wasn't any animals out. Now I know where they're all at. Awfully quiet out there. Didn't see any apes. Didn't see a couple of lions, but no sloth, no penguin.
Exotic zoo day at Wrigley Field. Joe Maddon's got a lot of tricks up his sleeve. We'll ask if he went. He did not. Baez able to check his swing.
That kind of stuff goes a long way with players, and especially families. You know, you get the families out there in the field. They feel like they're part of organization, and always nice to have a guy in your dugout, your manager that has been there, done that through the playoffs. He's been to a World Series. Calming influence.
Ground ball in the hole. Segura backhands. Long throw, and it is in time. What a great play that was. Gene Segura. Cubs might want to take a look at this on a bang bang play at first base. Baez is not leaving. He thinks he was safe. So we will see. Maddon has stepped out, alerting the umpires he wants his 30 seconds.
An incredible throw by Gene Segura. This is one thing that you come to expect out of Siggy, and a good pick again by Adam Lynn. The Cubs are satisfied. The call's right.
No challenge. Inning over. Cravey strands two.
Fan giveaway of the season, a retro knit cap given to all fans at the ballpark on Sunday, October 4th, as the Brewers take on these Cubs. To reserve your spot at the Brewers' final All Fans Sunday of 2015, go to brewers.com/tickets.
Here we go to the third inning. Arrieta facing Maldonado. A little half swing roller. That's fair. And Arrieta will place the out on. Nope, he'll take it to first instead. A 1-3 put out. That's the way to do it, Maldonado. Don't let him tag you out.
Don't give up. Little check swing. You're going to see a lot of those with the stuff that Arrieta features. He's had a tremendous slider. Now, those sliders that he threw in the second inning, nasty. You're not going to hit those. But most of the time, those pitches are off the plate. Tough to lay off of, though.
Here's Tyler Cravey, the Brewer pitcher. Brewers got a leadoff double from Jeanette. Schaefer moved him to third on a ground out, and nothing doing since. Cravey with a little chopper. That is foul. Arrieta is a fantastic athlete. You see how he stalks off the mound. He's Greinke-like in that regard as well. He fields his position well. He's in tremendous shape. There was a very good article written by Phil Rogers today. You can Google it, about Arrieta's workout regime and the fact that the Cubs kind of let him do what he thought he needed to be a successful major league starting pitcher. And I think Chris Bosio deserves a lot of credit for the emergence of Arrieta.
You got to let him be himself, right?
There's a strikeout. That's number 4 for Arrieta. Montero secures it at first.
That's that slider. That's unhittable. You can't hit that pitch. The problem with it is it's tough to lay off of, too, because it breaks so late. Looks like a good pitch to hit until right at the last minute. Drops off the table and into the dirt.
So 2 men are out, and Scooter Gennett will step in there. Scooter taking a little extra time to give Cravey a chance to get back and get a rest before he goes back to the mound. Gennett slapped a double down the left field line right out of the gates. And 8 in a row retired by Arrieta since. I think the biggest thing for Arrieta, he always had the stuff, but in the Cubs he had a team that believed in him, traded for him, felt he could be more than what he was. And he was injured with the Orioles. He had elbow surgery in 2011. Had to remove some bone spurs out of his elbow. He got shut down in August of 11. Didn't pitch the rest of that season, so he missed the final 2 months of the year. 12 was a bit of a comeback year. 13, things just didn't go quite the way he wanted, and then he was traded in 14. Arrieta drops it, recovers it, and throws out Gennett. A 7-pitch inning for Jake Arrieta. Scoreless at Wrigley as we go to the bottom of the third. Fox Sports Wisconsin. And we're always asking you to play along with us. Send us your tweets. Your strongest fan photo is what we're looking for. Use hashtag #WisDataStrongFan. And you just might see yourself in an upcoming broadcast. Brought to you by T-Mobile. Tyler Cravey trying to match up with Jake Arrieta tonight. Cravey's issued a walk. He's allowed 2 hits as a strikeout. He stranded 2 on last inning. And he'll face Arrieta to start the 3rd. Arrieta on the first pitch into left field, and Davis is there to make the play.
Off the end.
Boy, he jumped on that one and just missed it. He was ready to hack. It's like Paul Bunyan up there with that beard and no batting gloves.
Yeah, fastball at 90 miles an hour out in front of it. He does have a homer this year. Not much left of the bat. That's why he didn't go out of the ballpark right off the end.
How many pitchers break a bat and hit it that far, though?
Yeah.
Not many. So 1 away on 1 pitch. Top of the order here is Dexter Fowler. Brewers calling up 6 Biloxi Shuckers today. Their season ended yesterday in a loss to Chattanooga in the Southern League Championship game. And so Craig Counsell has 2 position players available tonight that were not here last night. Yadiel Rivera, who's an infielder that can play all 3 spots in the infield, 3rd, short, and 2nd. And an outfielder, Michael Reed. Those 2 are right-handed hitters. 2 pitchers in the bullpen are available tonight. Jonathan Barrios is here. He came in that deal for Ramos Ramirez with the Pirates. And the big right-hander, Adrian Hauser, is available out of the pen as well. So the other 2 are 2 starting pitchers that we will not see tonight and probably won't see out of the bullpen. Tyler Wagner and Jorge Lopez. Did he go? They'll ask, and yes, he did. Fowler swings, and he's out. And that's a strikeout for Tyler Cravey, his 3rd.
Good breaking pitch for Cravey down in the dirt. And Fowler got a base hit on a fastball his first time up. There it is. Maldonado wanted it down. He got it down and just not able to hold up. There's your curveball grip. And good block by Maldi. It's a good day to have some reinforcements in the bullpen when Craig Counsell tells you it's going to be a game for the bullpen. That's so far a pretty good start to the night for Tyler Cravey.
Yeah, he's got some good breaking stuff going tonight. The split change that he throws, he's gotten a couple of strikeouts on that to Rizzo and Bryant. And the curveball's been good. Kyle Schwarber. What a first year in the big leagues. 16 home runs for Schwarber in just 59 games. 42 runs batted in. Chris Bryant looks like a runaway Rookie of the Year selection. But Schwarber has made significant contributions. And they've got 2 rookies hitting back-to-back in the lineup. 2nd and 3rd, Schwarber and Bryant.
Yeah, it's a lot to expect out of rookies, but they've handled it nicely. I think Joe Madden has massaged them in and out of the lineup and given them some time and continue to swing the bat well. They just can't get Schwarber out of the lineup. There's that cut fastball right there. Good pitch.
Schwarber was catching a lot when Miguel Montero was out with an injury. And once he came back, Schwarber had hit enough to earn his way into the lineup. So they threw him out in left field, and he's not an above average left fielder, but he holds his own out there as he draws the walk. It's a 2-out walk, and now Cravey's going to have to deal with Chris Bryant with a man on.
They tried to get him on a breaking pitch, but Schwarber's got a tremendous eye at the plate, didn't bite. Now you get into the really troublesome part of this batting order now with Brian Rizzo coming up.
Las Vegas native Chris Bryant. Hasn't been many minor league players that catch as much hype as Bryant, and he rips the first offering from Gravy deep into left, into the bleachers it goes. Just like that, the Cubs have a 2-0 lead. That establishes a new rookie record for the Chicago Cubs franchise. Bryant just passed Billy Williams with his 26th home run of the season.
That home run coming right after a walk. Nancy, you can't give extra outs, can't walk batters. This is a powerful lineup, and Chris Bryant not messing around after a strikeout his first time up. Picking on the first pitch. He's a pretty good low ball hitter. Giving him high fives in that dugout. They all realize what he did.
And now the crowd just now reading the scoreboard out in left center. They come to their feet. Bryant gives him a curtain call. '61, Billy Williams as a rookie hit 25 homers. As Rizzo jumps on the first pitch, and that will end the inning. But history made here at Wrigley Field. This franchise has been around a long time. No rookie's ever done what Chris Bryant has done.
As a Cub, and that's saying something long as they've been around. First pitch after a walk to Schwarber. Fastball down in. He turns the bat around and knocks it way out of here into left field with 2 outs, giving the Cubs a 2-0 lead. Incredible power for Chris Bryant. Quick hands on the inside part of the plate.
Now, Bryant hasn't been a pro long. He was drafted in the 2013 season. He played his college ball at San Diego, University of San Diego, and signed out of San Diego with the Cubs last year, which was really his first full season as a Cubs minor league player. Last year he hit 43 homers between AA and AAA. 43 homers and 110 RBIs, and he did that in just 138 games. And the Cubs, when they drafted him, they knew they had something special. But when he puts numbers like that up as a 22-year-old at the high levels, then you're talking about a star. And Bryant made the All-Star team this year.
What, 11, 12 home runs in spring training?
And did not make the big league roster to start the season.
Yeah, sent him to Iowa, but it didn't take him long to bring him back up.
He's got a chance to hit 30 and drive in 100. Right now he's at 26 and 97. Logan Schaefer fouls it back. 1 ball, 2 strikes on Schaefer.
Man, with a 196 earned run average, you wonder how many more runs that Arrieta actually needs tonight. You just can't fall behind when this guy's out on the mound. Runs are roughly difficult to come by against him.
And he zips one right by Schaefer. Caught him guessing. Schaefer is strikeout victim number 5.
That one had a little tail to it. Cuts it. You can put a little tail on it away from a left-hander. Change up. He got Jeanette to ground out to end the third on a change up. You see him throw curveballs and sliders. So he's got it all working. Watch this pitch as it goes into the strike zone. Ends up right down the middle. Got to be easy to catch. Jake Arrieta always around the plate.
Right where you want it.
Yeah.
Usually minimal activity on the bases. You can settle in as a catcher. Ground ball to first base. Rizzo is there. And there is out number 2.
And the cut fastball that time.
Well, the Cubs, when you talk about their potential to win a World Series, and they have as good a shot as anybody right now. Cubs have the 3rd best record in the National League. Unfortunately, it's the 3rd best in their own division. But they have quite a 1-2 punch. Bryant Rizzo offensively, and then they've got Arrieta and John Lester on the mound. And the Cubs are in a position now, because of all their young talent that are now starters and stars, they can probably go sign a big name free agent pitcher this offseason.
It's the only thing they need. You know, maybe a number 3, consistent number 3 to go along with these 2 guys at the top of the rotation. You mentioned Arrieta scheduled to pitch the wild card game. John Lester, not a bad guy to start a playoff series.
Right. Yeah, Lester started the wild card game last year for Oakland and was cruising along for the A's until it all fell apart late on him. But I think Joe Madden took all those questions away, and the year Arrieta's having, he would be their number 1, whether it's to start off a division series or to pitch in a wild card game. Cubs are going to need a small miracle to win the division, but they're not out of it yet. They're 6 games back, 13 to play.
Yeah, that's near impossible right there. I mean, 6 games back, 13 to play. Got 2 teams to jump over. That probably will not happen. And I think Joe Madden realizes that. I think he has his sights set on a home wild card game.
Davis into right field, hit well, but right at Coughlin to end the inning. 3 up, 3 down for Arrieta. coming. Chicago coming to bat against Tyler Cravey. Hey, a reminder that the Bucks are taking the show on the road with the second annual Milwaukee Bucks Own the Future statewide tour. You can meet young Bucks Jabari Parker and Rashad Vaughn, along with Bango, the Bucks dancers, and other Bucks entertainers as they hitch a ride on the Fox Sports Wisconsin Bucks Fan Express. And they make stops throughout the state of Wisconsin this weekend. Visit foxsportswisconsin.com for the full schedule of appearances. We wish Jason Kidd and the Bucks all the best this year. Best of luck to them after a playoff
great season last year. That was fun watching those guys.
Gave the Bulls a nice run.
Yeah.
And they're hoping for a return trip to the playoffs and hopefully a series win this year. Tyler Cravey back to work. He'll face Starlin Castro to lead off, Coghlan to follow, and then Miguel Montero. A 2-run home run by Chris Bryant with 2 outs last inning. The difference in the game right now. 2-0 to Starlin Castro. There's a strike.
Good pitch right on the corner.
We got a no-hitter watch going tonight, Rock. Got a no-hitter going in Detroit. They might have made a pitching change here. There's a swing and a miss.
No hitter, but there's no score.
Right. There's been Norris, Farmer, and Kroll are combining to throw a no hitter. So Kroll is the third pitcher used. Norris went 5 innings. Daniel Norris, the young lefty.
For the Tigers.
For the Tigers. So we'll keep an eye on that one. Combined no-hitters just don't have the same ring to it. We've had 6 complete game no-hitters. Arrieta had one of them against the Dodgers. Castro just lays the bat on it and a soft line drive right to Jeanette for out number 1. Elsewhere on the scoreboard, the Pirates are in Colorado again tonight. They won last night. Pirates lead 1-0. They've got Jay Happ on the mound tonight. They just got started. They're in the 2nd inning. And then the Cardinals are underway against Cincinnati. Late comeback win for the Cardinals last night. 8th inning comeback.
Yeah, 2 in the 8th, right? 1-2-1.
And the Reds lead 1-0 in the 3rd inning of that game. Looks like the 5 teams are set in the National League, although the Mets don't want to hear that talk. They're 6 games up, but the Mets are in a great position. They are trailing to the Braves tonight, however, 4-1 in New York, bottom of the 7th inning. And let's see what the Nationals are doing. They're down 4-1 to the Orioles going into the 7th inning. You can't blame Mets fans. They've seen a few collapses.
Yeah.
Except for the '69 season, and then Cubs fans who remember that season will agonize over those memories. It was actually Mets collapse that helped the Brewers in the postseason in 2008.
Yep.
They had a late season fall in 07 and once again in 08.
Marlins took them down last weekend.
Coghlan takes a ball. 2-2. There's another guy that's reinvented himself here in Chicago, Chris Coghlan, a former Rookie of the Year with the Marlins. He's been playing a lot with Soler out. Once Madden made that decision to play Schwarber in left field to keep his bat in the lineup, it was Coghlan's playing time that was cut short. And then once Soler went out with the oblique injury, Coghlan moved over to right field.
Play him anywhere.
fly ball to left, right to Davis. And there is out number 2.
Hey, don't miss the final DNR day of the season on Sunday, October 4th against the Cubs. This special ticket package includes a ticket to the Brewers season finale against Chicago, plus a limited edition camo Brewers cap. All for just $17 for tickets. Go to brewers.com/DNR.
Here's Miguel Montero with 2 away. Hit a line drive out his last time up. That was with 2 men on. Cravey stranded those 2 runners in the second inning.
Those off-speed pitches that Cravey's been throwing, that fastball, 89 and 91 seems a lot quicker to the hitter. That split change, he's been throwing some sliders. He's looked good tonight. There's that split change. Just needs to get him some runs. Easier said than done tonight.
Montero spent some time on the DL with a thumb injury, sprained left thumb. Came back in early August. There's a shot. Cravey slowed it down. Segura's got it. Has time. And that will retire the side. We'll keep an eye on Tyler Cravey. Brewers did have bullpen activity. Might be the last of Cravey in this one. 2-0 Cubs.
Double by Scooter Gennett, and the Brewers have not been able to get a base runner. We talked about the arsenal of pitches that Jake Arrieta has. He has the curveball. He hasn't made a mistake with that pitch once. You see the strikeout to Adam Lynn down in the dirt, exactly where you want it. And you got the slider. You can see the release point. You can see the dot as it leaves his hand. That's where hitters are trying to pick up. Off the outside corner, gets a strikeout, and then the 2-seamer. This is a good pitch to Scooter Gennett, a called strike 3. Started on the edge, but with that late movement going away from Gennett right down the middle of the plate. So you can see why he's been so tough. All those pitches coming out of the same arm slot, very difficult to pick up.
Starts Domingo Santana with a 2-seam fastball. Santana was the strikeout victim in the second inning, and a slow curveball misses. Santana's been a hot hitter. He's been fun to watch. Went through a little spell where he had a lot of strikeouts across a 4-game stretch, but he came out of that slump and continues to impress. He's hit 6 homers as a Brewer in just 27 games. Hit 2 home runs as an Astro earlier this year in 14 games. 27 games, he's got 6 homers, 18 runs batted in. High on base percentage. He's been drawing walks. And he muscles one over to Rizzo. 3 unassisted on the putout. Santana is retired.
Very similar body type to that of Chris Bryant. Yeah, tall, thin, a lot of power, good leverage to knock the ball out of the ballpark. And another guy that's a pretty good low ball hitter, Domingo Santana.
Here's Segura with 1 away. Arrieta's dominance is so impressive. What he's been able to do, not just in his last 4 starts where he's gone at least 8 innings. One of those games he went the distance, of course. He had a tremendous month of August, did Arrieta. Threw a no-hitter against the Dodgers August 30th. Slow roller to second base. And 2 up and 2 down. So Arrieta became the first pitcher in Cubs franchise history to go 6-0 in 6 starts with an ERA below .75 in a calendar month. And that's all across Major League Baseball, by the way. Jim Cott went 6-0 with a .35 ERA September of '74. That was with the White Sox. So this notion that Arrieta, all this talk with the Mets pitching staff about innings pitched, even though Arrieta is a lot older than those guys, he's not pitched this much in his career, and yet he looks like he's getting stronger.
His velocity is actually better than it was early in the season.
Perez in the hole, backhanded. Baez, and safe at first. Perez slid head first. That was some kind of play by Baez, but Perez sniffing a base hit, able to make it. And that snaps a string of consecutive outs for the Brewers offensively.
Man, pretty good play by Baez is right. I mean, he goes down on one knee to get himself in position to throw. He knew he had to be quick with it. Bounces right up and a good throw. A little bit off the mark. I think Rizzo had his foot on the bag, but Perez beat it. Second hit for the Brewers. Their first hit since the leadoff batter Jeanette in the first inning.
Snacks a string of 14 straight. Boy, that's a great play.
Yeah, you can't get up any quicker than that. A little bit off the mark. I think he had the foot on the bag when he had the ball in his glove, but Hernan beat it at first base.
That reminds me of an Omar Vizquel play. Shortstops make a play differently in the hole. Some guys jump throw like Derek Jeter. Some guys, will try to plant backhand like Segura. We saw Segura do that the other day. And the slide to a stop technique, it takes tremendous skill to be able to do that.
Yeah, the thing about Omar Vizquel, it probably would have been a routine play for him because he knew hitters so well.
Yes.
He never had an arm like that, but he was certainly one of the smartest, if not one of the most talented physically on the field.
Well, he was something to watch defensively. Omar Vizquel, he's still a coach. He's with the Tigers, infield coach and first base coach. Matter of fact, Hernan Perez was under the tutelage of Omar Vizquel in his time with the Tigers. Finally, a base runner with 2 outs. Maldonado calls time, gets time.
Or did he?
Yeah, I saw the umpire raise his hand.
Did he? That 1-1.
That won't make Arrieta too happy, though. Maldonado's been doing that a lot lately, asking for timeout. This time the catcher did. Arrieta was ready to charge the plate.
I'll tell you why. He's been behind home plate. A lot of times when umpires are giving the opposing hitters timeout, do that to Zach Davies quite a bit.
Yep. Did he go? Yes, he did. That running two-seam fastball of Arrieta.
You know what? There's nothing wrong with trying to get into the head of Arrieta. Maybe call time, step out, make him wait. He likes to work quickly. Why not? Try and get him mad out there. Get out of his game.
He's only given up 2 earned runs in his last 49 innings. Ramirez takes off on the ground to Baez. And he slings one over to first for the out. 5 shutout for Jake Arrieta. The Brewers down to the Cubs 2-0.
Here in the 5th, our crew in the community tonight, in honor of the late Hall of Famer and humanitarian, Major League Baseball annually bestows the Roberto Clemente Award, presented by Chevrolet, to the player who best represents the game of baseball through sportsmanship, community involvement, and positive contributions both on and off the field. A player from each club was nominated, and the Brewers nominee for 2015 is Jonathan Lucroy. The national winner will be announced at the World Series, and to vote for Jonathan to be this year's Roberto Clemente Award winner, you can visit ChevyBaseball.com. A quick update on Jonathan Lucroy. Craig Counsell saying he will not catch the remainder of this year, but that does not mean he's shut down. He has been taking batting practice on the field, got in some work at first base today, so Counsell saying he will get at-bats. They'll use him in game situations, but will not catch just as a preventative situation.
All right, Sophia, thanks for the report. We have changes for the Brewers here at the bottom of the 5th inning. Kyle Lohse is on the mound for the Brewers. And Lohse made 22 starts and then was sent to the bullpen. Does have a couple of saves as a reliever. And we have a major league debut over at third base. And wouldn't you know it, right to him, his first chance, Yadiel Rivera. Welcome to the big leagues.
Feels better already. He's got the first one out of the way. Well done. Yadiel Rivera split time between AA and AAA. More time in AAA than in Biloxi. Got the first play out of the way, right at him. Nothing to it.
That was the everyday shortstop at AAA Colorado Springs. And then they sent him back to AA to play with Arcia. And he played second base there. And you're talking about one of the great keystone combos in all of minor league baseball in Rivera and Arcia. As Arrieta swing and a miss. And you made a good point in our open tonight, Rock, that the 6 players that have arrived from Biloxi to Milwaukee, the 2 best prospects aren't here yet.
Right.
Orlando Arcia, the toolsy shortstop that's got a great big league future, most that have seen him field. And then Brett Phillips, the Astros #1 prospect, who came to the Brewers in that trade for Carlos Gomez and Mike Fiers.
Well, the Brewers didn't feel like they wanted to start the clock on either one of those 2 guys. Brewers had to adjust the roster a little bit to make room for a lot of these guys that have come up. They placed Blazek and Nelson on the 60-day, which doesn't mean a whole lot at this point in the season, but that opens up a couple of roster spots, so that's why they're here.
Dexter Fowler with 2 outs. If you put a player on the 15-day disabled list, the 7-day concussion disabled list, you have to keep him on your active roster, so your
40-man
or your 40-man roster even. So you can't occupy their spot. But for a long injury, something serious that'll take you through the rest of the year, the 60-day DL allows you to replace that player. So the Brewers were able to do that, and they were talking about bringing up 2 players from Biloxi. They ended up calling up 6.
Because the Brewers have been shorthanded for about a week now. You know, with the injuries to Braun and Lucroy, now Herrera, Peterson banged up a little bit. Brewers are actually shorthanded, you know, to start this series, and toward the end of that weekend series against the Reds. Hard to believe in September they're going to be shorthanded, but they're not now.
Been patiently waiting that Southern League series to end. Loesch misses high to Fowler.
Yeah, but a nice job by Tyler Crave. You got to tip your hat to him. 4 strong innings. He only made the one mistake to Chris Bryant.
And Fowler draws a 2-out walk. Didn't miss by much. Loesch wanted that call. And now he'll have to deal with Kyle Schwarber with 2 outs. Runner at first base. Cravey giving up that 2-run homer to Bryant in the 3rd inning came with 2 outs. And is on the hook for his 8th loss.
Yeah, right after a walk.
Schwarber. Fly ball, shallow right field. Oh my goodness. There's Santana. Fowler's coming all the way around to score. That just cannot happen. The ball was in the air forever.
Yeah.
Santana went back first and then just gave up on it. Those are the kind of plays that are just maddening.
That's just a bad play. Yeah, you just can't allow that to happen in the major leagues. I mean, the closest guy to it. That was a heck of a play by Segura to get out there that far. It goes off his glove. Well, you have 2 guys playing very deep. Look at Santana. He keeps going back. He sees that Segura is under it. Finally, that's an impossible play for a shortstop. Somebody's got to catch that baseball. That's just a bad play out there in right field.
Gonna get an RBI double out of that.
Yeah.
That's
once again
good.
Another walk scores. It's kind of every time it seems like the Brewers walk somebody, they come around to score.
Lowe should be out of the inning. He's gonna have an earned run. Should have been. Here's Bryant now. Little cutter misses.
But when you're playing that deep to start with, there's really no reason to go back that much. I mean, he went back 2 steps. Took him a while to get on his way in, and didn't even come close.
And a cue shot that had a funky spin on it. Actually hit Loesch, who makes the play. He was right there to make the catch on it, but it took a left turn. And he knocks it down, gets out of the inning, but a run scores. Don't just live, shine. By Piggly Wiggly, the official supermarket of Fox Sports Wisconsin. And by Hupy and Abraham, 800-800-5678. Hupy and Abraham, tell them you mean business. Cubs lead 3-0 as we head to the 6th inning. Poor defense by the Brewers last inning, giving Arrieta an extra run to work with. And here is Yadiel Rivera. His first major league at bat is against a potential Cy Young Award winner. Came in the game, his first defensive play right out of the gates at third base.
Well, one good thing about facing Arrieta in your first at bat, it gets easier from there. Doesn't get much tougher.
It's the underdog scenario. It's a good place to be. We see his combined numbers, AA and AAA. We saw a lot of Rivera this spring. He's a shortstop by trade, but happy to play anywhere the Brewers want him to if he can play in the big leagues. Third base, second base. 2 balls, 1 strike, and Rivera, a slow roller. Third base, Bryant gloves it and throws him out. Our Carsoup.com trivia question tonight: who was the last Cubs pitcher to win the National League Cy Young Award? Good question. Arrieta's trying to become the first Cub to win 20 games since John Lieber in 2001. Jeanette with a double in the first. Brewers have 2 hits. Perez with an infield hit. At the plate presented by Wendy's for Scooter tonight. Cubs got 2 runs in the 3rd inning with a 2-out homer by Bryant. Scored a run in the 5th on a 2-out double by Schwarber. But a fly ball that should have been caught. Good spot for a team error right there.
Right, I agree.
No such thing.
Anything but a double. But that's the way you have to score it. You know, the way it's set up these days, or set up now.
One ball, 2 strikes. Arrieta sitting on 5 strikeouts, has 8 ground ball outs. 16 batters faced. 50 innings, 2 earnings. And an ERA that is dropping. It's over 200 innings. This is his 31st start of the year.
All of that, but he's got a losing record against the Brewers in his career. This is his 8th start and a 2-3 record. 1-1 this year. So one of his 6 losses came at the hands of the Brewers early this season.
That was a start on May 2nd. That was here at Wrigley. Gave up 4 earned runs in 5 innings. Jeanette lines one right to Bryant. Good at bat there by Jeanette, but nothing to show for it.
Hey, that brings us to tonight's hammer of the game winner. It's Milwaukee Beer Bistro in Milwaukee. If they call the Brewers in the next 24 hours, they get 40 Miller Lite beer pen tickets to a Brewers home game in April or May of next year. This offer courtesy of the Tavern League of Wisconsin and Miller Lite.
2 up, 2 down for Arrieta. Here's Logan Schaefer. Schaefer is 0 for 2. A ground out and a strikeout. Arrieta struck him out with a fastball in the 4th inning.
Got him on a changeup as well. He just threw him a changeup at 90 miles an hour. A pretty good changeup. There's that two-seamer. He's got the two-seamer, the cutter, the curveball, the four-seamer, the slider. Throws all of them anytime to both right-handers and left-handers.
And has ironed out all those mechanics problems he had as a member of the Orioles. Well, Arrieta took something off. Another strikeout for him. Good curveball gets Schaefer. Strikeout number 6. At Wrigley Field, Jake Arrieta is on his game tonight. Not good for the Brew Crew. All right, as promised earlier in the game, we have selected the Data Strong fan photo of the game. It is from Dana. I got Dana on the left. What do you think? Like that?
I can go with it.
That's all brought to you by T-Mobile. Don't forget to use the hashtag #WisDataStrongFan.
What does sign behind her say?
I didn't get a chance to see it.
Couldn't read it.
But it was very well placed. Important message. Los facing Anthony Rizzo to start the Cubs' 6th inning. The dynamic duo of Rizzo and Bryant. Bryant's taken over that 3 spot. Rizzo hitting cleanup. One of the top duos as far as run production in all of Major League Baseball. Bryant leads the Cubs now with 97 RBIs. Rizzo has 95. There's a called strike 3. Loesch inside corner gets him.
Yeah, that's where you got to pitch him. But don't make a mistake. He likes it in there. But if he's looking away like he normally would against Kyle Loesch, thinking he's going to throw change-ups, off-speed pitches away. And that one caught plenty of the plate. And two-seam fastball. You can see it tail right back over the plate. Maldonado holds it nicely, and Rizzo caught looking.
And tell by the claps that it's a Starlin Castro at bat. For a long time here, they did not have walk-up music. Didn't have the facilities, the video board, the sound system. Just played the organ. They just didn't do it. Now they do it this year. And that walk-up song by Starlin Castro has caught on. Broken bat. Loesch knocks it down. Out number 2.
How about those stereo speakers? Those speakers down around the batting cage during batting practice. I mean, you could literally not hear yourself think when the Cubs were taking BP.
Yeah, those speakers on the new scoreboard, they boom throughout Wrigleyville. So what they do for batting practice, they turn those off so to give the neighborhood a little bit of peace before the game begins, and then they put the mobile speakers down there on the field, like right where the on deck circles are, and they crank those babies up.
You literally can't have a conversation down there.
And I think that might be the
you think that's what it's all about? You think Joe Madden's thinking we don't want to talk to anybody?
I think so. I
don't think so.
You know, the real reason is they want to contain the sound down on the ground because the players like their own music for batting practice. And so what they do when the Cubs hit, it's the players' selection of music. You know, all the players get to put in a couple of songs,
get them all fired up.
Yeah, it's like Club Wrigley down there.
And then
when the Brewers take the field for BP, they go back to the organ music
and put everybody to sleep.
But the organ music is kind of what we prefer. But we're old men. Fly ball right field. Santana will run this one down. And a good inning for Loesch. He should have 2 scoreless. Did give up a run in the 5th. It's 3-0 Cubs. In our Columbia St. Mary's worth another look. He's got it all going here tonight.
As advertised, I mean, he knew coming in that the Brewers had an uphill battle. Arietta has gone 8 or more innings in each of his last 4 starts, and looks like he's on his way to be able to do that again.
He's faced 2 over the minimum. Brewers have 2 hits, had a double from Jeanette to start the game, and then an infield hit by Perez in the 5th inning. Addison Russell will check in. He'll play shortstop, tighten up the defense. Castro's out. Baez now at second base.
69 pitches is all for Arrieta as we enter the 7th inning.
Adam Lind will start it. Lind, Davis, and Santana. 90-mile-an-hour slider.
Yeah. Toward the end of September, here in the 7th inning, he's still feeling strong.
Lind had an at-bat with a runner at third and 1 out in the 1st inning, and Arrieta struck him out. Brewers had 3 at-bats in the 1st with a runner in scoring position. They have not put a runner in scoring position since. Arrieta had retired 14 in a row at one point before that infield hit. Now he's retired 4 straight. Look out. Down and in across the shoe tops. on a 91-mile-an-hour changeup. You know, Arrieta is going so good tonight, Rock. And let me throw this out there to hear what you think. But he's using his B pitches. So his best pitch is his fastball slider combination. Those are his two best pitches. Those are the ones he go to when things get squirrely. As Lynn bounces back to the mound, and the first out here in the 7th inning. But tonight he's throwing a lot of changeups and a lot of curveballs, which would be considered his 3rd best and 4th best pitch.
Yeah, working ahead in the count. He's hadn't made any mistakes with it. When you can throw a changeup at 89, 90 miles an hour, and that's considered to be a change of pace. I mean, he really hadn't thrown a big fastball either. I mean, he's been around 95, topping out at maybe 1 or 2, maybe a little bit higher than that. But you know, he can get it up to 98, so he hasn't really let it loose yet tonight. The Brewers have only hit 4 baseballs out of the infield tonight. And not only does he have good command of all of his pitches, but he's keeping everything down in the zone.
They're just catching him in one of those years. Feels a lot like what Kershaw was doing last year. Chris Davis on the Powerball home run leaderboard. He has 23 this year. He's 2 behind Braun for the club high. Lind hit his 20th last night.
Every time you watch throughout the season, you see him in person, guys that have dominated major league hitters like Greinke and Arrieta have this year. You go back to 1968 and Bob Gibson, 1.12 earned run average for the season.
The year of the pitcher.
Incredible. I mean, just incredible stuff. What Arrieta and Greinke are doing, it's historic.
Arrieta, just his 3rd 3-ball count of the day as Davis fouls one away. Since the All-Star break, Arrieta has an ERA under 1. Historically low second half ERA. Davis looking for one mistake. And a 3-1 in the hole. Russell lays out to his feet, throw to first, not in time. An infield hit. Addison Russell just into the game makes a nice play, but Davis will beat out an infield single.
2 to 3 hits have been infield hits. One for Perez, now one for Davis. And Russell able to get up, but just not able to get much on the throw. Pretty athletic stuff. I mean, you kind of bring your game, to the next level when you're playing behind a guy like Arrieta.
Yeah, good point. Well, Domingo Santana, he's got big power. See if he can find one. Strike.
Yeah, the thing about it for the defenders is he works quickly, he throws a lot of strikes, he doesn't mess around out there, and these guys realize what's at stake for him, and they want to make every play they can for him. Never on their heels.
And he throws it generally where the catcher wants it, which as a defender, right, helps you set up better.
Right.
Strike 2, fastball at 95. Santana maybe looking for a breaking ball. He's got himself in a hole 0-2. Base runner at first. Arrieta in the stretch. That's the pitch he struck out Santana on in the 2nd inning. That exact spot.
Well, the more you see it, the better chance you have laying off of it.
See if he gets another one. 1 ball, 2 strikes. And he did get another one. That was a curveball, actually.
Yeah.
And Santana strikes out. 7th strikeout for Arrieta.
You don't see too many curveballs better than that one. I mean, he throws it hard. He's got a late break on it. He comes out of the same arm slot as a fastball. That's about as good as it gets right there.
That is a hard, late breaking, downward breaking curveball.
Straight down.
2 outs. Here is Segura.
Cutter. As difficult as it is on this Brewers offense, it's impressive to watch a guy like Arrieta do what he does. It's one of the treats about coming to the ballpark, seeing the best.
Well, Arrieta's ERA continues to plummet. It's going to be a race for the Cy Young Award this year. Greinke and Arrieta. Anybody falters, the other's going to win. Crowd of over 36,000 at Wrigley on their feet, trying to bring Arrieta home here in the 7th. Segura's looking for a mistake. And that will just miss. 96 outside for ball 1.
I think he fooled home plate umpire Toby Bassiner. It looked like it had plenty of the plate. One of his best fastballs, velocity wise.
Off the plate, box tracks barely though. Arrieta's had 18 swings and misses tonight. There's a lot. We're in the 7th inning. He's got 7 strikeouts. Davis takes off and a swing and a miss. Strikeout number 8. Arrieta is in control of the Brew Crew tonight. Shutout through 7, 3-0 Cubs. The bottom of the 7th, and a reminder that Saturday postseason races coming down to the wire. It starts on Fox. Battle for control of the NL wild card between the Pirates and the Cubs, and then the Brew Crew taking on the Cardinals in a game you can only see on FS1. Coverage of that game starts at 11:30 a.m. Central on Fox, and then the FS1 game at 5:30 p.m. Central. Miguel Montero will lead off for the Cubs. 3-0. Cubs got a 2-run homer out of Chris Bryant in the 3rd inning. That came with 2 outs. And then a miscue in right field, which led to a double and an RBI from Schwarber. Scooter Gennett is over. And a good play for out number 1 as Kyle Loesch continues in his 3rd inning.
But you really have to tip your hat to the Brewers pitchers tonight, both of them. I mean, Cravey, Loesch have done a nice job with this lineup. Just an uphill battle for the hitters tonight against one of the league's best.
If you're just joining us, the Brewers called up 6 players from Double-A, Biloxi, and one of them has already made his major league debut, Yadiel Rivera. more to come, I'm sure. Here's Baez. Baez started the game as the shortstop and just moved over to second base last inning as Russell came in. This guy's got a lot of moving parts in his swing, but when he gets it all connected, he can really hit him a long way.
Yeah, what Joe Madden likes the most about him is his defense. He's a very good defender no matter where he puts him. Third base, going with short, second.
I would imagine there was a bit of a humbling last year. As he came up, he lit the world on fire right off the bat. Had 6 homers in just 52 games, and most of those came early, but he hit just 169 last year. So back to the minor leagues this year. He's only 22. Went back to AAA. Spent most of his season at AAA Iowa. Hit .324 there. 13 home runs at the AAA level.
Takes a healthy hack. That's a big swing.
He's playing in his 19th game with the Cubs this season. He's maintained a batting average over 300 coming into tonight. And now Baez down on strikes. 2 up, 2 down for Loesch.
Nice comeback sinker to get him. Hey, the Brewers and the Cubs shift their games to Milwaukee next Friday, October 2nd through Sunday the 4th, as division rivals close out the regular season with a 3-game set at Miller Park. Call 414-902-4000. Or go to Brewers.com to reserve your spot today.
Big ovation for Jake Arrieta as he bats for the 3rd time. Big, strong Texan Jake Arrieta out of Plano, Texas. And a line drive base hit. That'll get him revved up at Wrigley. Their pitcher Arrieta with a single.
And probably the last thing Joe Madden wanted to see was his starting pitcher out on the bases at this point. But a bullet into center field. He's not a sure out up there at the plate. Fastball right down the middle of the plate. Actually had a little bit of a cut to it, and Arrieta stays on it and hits it hard into center field.
Gives Dexter Fowler a chance here in the 7th. Fowler's having a good year offensively. He struggles in center field, even though he plays shallow and he's very fast. He's not a great center fielder defensively.
Made an error last night.
Popped him up. Third base, Yadiel Rivera. And the inning is over. So Loesch, 3 innings, 1 run. We go to the 8th. Brewers down 3 to Arrieta. Sports Wisconsin is brought to you by Miller Lite, the original light Pilsner. Cheers, it's Miller time. And by the Wisconsin Lottery, reminding you to please play responsibly. Under the Tuesday night lights of Wrigley Field, Chicago, we go to the 8th inning. 3-0 Cubs. Our Carsoup.com trivia. The last Cubs pitcher to win the Cy Young Award in the National League. The answer was Greg Maddux, a 20-game winner back in 1992. Earned run average of 218, and his number retired here in Chicago. Hall of Famer Greg Maddux. Traded from or lost in free agency to the Atlanta Braves. Arrieta's having a better year than Maddux did that year. Shane Peterson will lead off for the Brewers. Good job, Kyle Loesch. Should have gotten through this game with 3 scoreless.
Yeah.
Did not. That misplay in right field, that was actually scored as a double. Rightly so. You can't really charge an error to anybody there, but a play that should have been made and usually is.
Well, the only error they could have given was Segura, but he made a heck of a play just to get to where he was. Way out into right field. Off his glove, and a double and an RBI. But good pitching by Cravey and Loesch tonight. Have the Brewers within striking distance.
Foul into the seats. Brewers have action in their bullpen right now. There's Corey Knebel with Lee Tunnell. Two and two. Peterson facing Arrieta to start the 8th inning. Batting in the pitcher's spot, and that one misses low. 3 balls, 2 strikes. Look at that cluster of pitches against Peterson.
Hasn't been too many 3-ball counts tonight.
Just 4.
Yeah, 4.
That is the pitcher's perspective that Fox tracks everything away. That one's in, and Peterson is out.
Cutter.
Boy, that was wicked.
I mean, that's about as nasty as it gets.
And think of it from a hitter's perspective. Everything is away, away, away. Your eyes are trained to see away, and then he drops this one on you.
Yep.
Nobody has that right
off
there.
The inside corner.
Just spins it off the fingers.
Yep.
The cut fastball.
And the difference between the slider and the cutter, the slider is going to go down a little bit. That one went straight across.
One away. Here is Maldonado. Well, this series with the Cubs, the Brewers are getting a first-hand look at where they need to get to. This is what they're trying to be. New general manager David Stearns made the comment yesterday he didn't take the job unless he thought he could win a World Series in Milwaukee, meaning the tools in place, the ownership, the payroll, the flexibility.
Yeah, commitment not just to compete but to win. That's what it's all about. And Craig Counsell's right in there too.
Music to the ears of Brewers fans. This has been a rough season. But you think about where the Cubs have come from. You know, Chris Bryant is having an extraordinary year. You don't get Chris Bryant unless you lose 101 games to get the draft pick. He was the 2nd overall pick in 13. Cubs lost 101 games in 2012. So we're seeing a lot as Maldonado draws the walk. That's the first walk of the game issued by Arrieta. We're seeing quick turnarounds in baseball. Maybe that'll be the Brew Crew next year. Never know.
You know, what made this season this year so difficult and so disappointing because you didn't see it coming. You saw a pretty competitive ball club entering spring training. They had a good spring, just had a miserable time getting out of the gates in April, and just have not been able to recover.
Yadiel Rivera batting for the second time. Well, as painful as it is to sit through a season like this, most general managers, all general managers in baseball, will tell you you either want to have a chance to win a World Series, meaning you'll have a good enough team to actually win a World Series, or you want to be so bad you can reset your organization. The no man's land in baseball is about 500 when you don't make changes, a lot like what happened to the Padres this year. The 1-0 pitch, and fouled away. Rivera's late. Goes from the Double-A Southern League championship game to Wrigley Field against Jake Arrieta.
As disappointing as the end of the Biloxi season was, this has got to be a nice little
makes it all go away.
Cherry on the top of the season, right?
1 ball, 1 strike. And Rivera, slow roller. Bryant waits back on it, goes to second for the out. So the lead out at second base. Fielder's choice for Rivera. And back to the top of the order now. Scooter Gennett. Pitch number 104 for Arrieta here in the 8th inning. And he is an out away from 5 consecutive outings of at least 8 innings. Started with that no-hitter in Los Angeles. No balls and a strike. One and 2 on Gennett. And the crowd is up again. Scooter with that nice short opposite field stroke, just trying to put the ball in play, hit it on the barrel, and keep the inning alive.
That's what he did his first time up. He stuck the bat out there and hit a line drive down the left field line.
Back up the middle, Russell's right there. And he'll flip it to Baez. The inning is over. Jake Arrieta with 8 shutout as advertised. The new showstopper at Wrigley Field.
we're getting set for Brewers Live here from Wrigley Field. Jake Arrieta, obviously a gem, Davey. 8 strong innings for him. Brewers bullpen by committee to help out Gravy here, but Kyle Loesch doing a nice job in his 3 innings.
Boy, Kyle has done a super job and has really picked up the bullpen really with those innings. And Tyler Cravey started it with 4 good innings, and Kyle Loesch come right in and looked very good, and that saves the bullpen. Let me tell you, that was a great job.
Pitched the 5th, 6th, and 7th inning, allowed just the 2 hits here. Also had 3 strikeouts for Loesch. So now the Brewers, well, they're down 3-0, and the Cubs won yesterday's game. It's been a gem out on the mound for Arrieta, no question about that. But we'll have full post-game reaction and get to know the young kids that came up from Biloxi, as well as hear from Craig Counsell as well, all coming up after the ball game. Brian.
All right, Craig and Davey, thanks. Here is Corey Knebel on for the 8th inning. Bottom of the 8th at Wrigley Field. The Cubs bullpen is quiet, which will tell you Arrieta is coming back out for the 9th.
Pitch count just a bit over 100. Walked his first, but Joe Maddon's going to stick with him.
108 pitches for Arrieta. Schwarber with an RBI double off Loesch.
Yeah, Corey last pitched on Friday against Cincinnati. Gave up a couple of hits, a couple of walks. Did not allow a run in an inning and a third.
And a base hit. Schwarber with a single, his 2nd hit of the day. And he's 2 out of 3 with a walk. It's a leadoff single with the big boys coming up. Chris Bryant will bat. Take you back to the 3rd inning. And this was the swing moment in the game. Cravey with 2 outs walked Schwarber, and then Bryant on the first pitch he saw launched one into the bleachers in left field. And that home run was his 26th, which is a new Cubs franchise record for home runs by a rookie. He passed Billy Williams, who set the mark in 1961. That's why the curtain call.
And that's all Jake Arrieta's needed so far.
Well, Brian with the home run and RBI record among Cubs rookies in franchise history.
And that goes back a while. That's not going back to 1990.
Right. Or 1970. Not a good team here in 08.
Yeah.
I heard.
Tinker to Evers the chance.
That's right. Another one in the gap, left center. And Schwarber all the way around. He's on his way home. Segura's throw to the plate is not in time. That was close.
There it was.
I think Maldonado deked him a little bit and might take a look at this one, but for now it is an RBI double to make it 4-0.
Not sure where Anthony Rizzo was telling him to slide. He thought he was going to stand up and make it easily, but Segura's throw made it close. 30th double for Chris Bryant, his 3rd RBI. Hammers a fastball into the gap, and Schwarber able to score all the way from first base. A good throw from Logan Schaefer, and a little bit of a bobble over there. Kind of couldn't get the ball out of his glove right away, Segura, but he's clearly safe.
4-0 Cubs, and with that run, Travis Wood begins throwing in the Cubs bullpen, so that might just do it here for Arrieta.
That foot on the plate, and the tag on Schwarber a little bit late.
And the lesson is, kids, to run through, run all the way through.
And the other lesson is the on-deck hitter's got to tell the guy whether to slide or not. A lot of lessons to be learned.
Yeah, and the other lesson is, if you're catching, just try to act like there's no throw and
right.
see if you can deke them. Is there another lesson?
It was a lot easier when you're able to block home plate. To dig a guy, you block home plate, you kind of drop the leg in there right at the last minute.
Send him sprawling.
Head over tea kettle.
It's all in the shoulders, isn't it? You kind of shrug your shoulders like, oh, here we go.
You look upset. You look demoralized. Yeah. Another run in. Boom. Tag on him.
Got to do some acting. Bryant and Rizzo. In the National League, only the Rockies have a more productive duo. Nolan Arenado and Carlos Gonzalez. Top run producing duo is from the Blue Jays, Josh Donaldson and Jose Bautista. Donaldson with 120 RBIs and Bautista 105. Jam shot. Bryant's on his way to third, and Segura for the out. First out of the inning. Rizzo's 0 for 4, but the Cubs have a 4-0 lead. They haven't needed him. And Bryant to third base. So now it'll be Addison Russell, his first at bat. Hard to find any holes with this Cubs team right now.
Well, they're playing some really good baseball right now. Nice stretch of winning. Win tonight gives them 14 wins in the last 19 games.
They're on a pace for 95 wins. Cubs got swept by the Phillies here at Wrigley Field. Remember, Cole Hamels threw the no-hitter. And since that time, July 27th, they are 21 games over 500. They're 37-16.
Kind of woke them up, didn't it?
It's the best record in the National League since that time. Against the Brewers this year, the Cubs are 10-4. Wave and a miss. 2-2 the count on Russell.
Good curveball. He hung the curveball to Schwarber. He got a base hit into center field. And Brian hit a fastball.
The 21-year-old shortstop, Addison Russell. Infield in. One out in the 8th inning, and a called strike 3, top of the zone. And Knebel picks up his first strikeout, second out of the inning. Miller Lite, what's on tap? Last game of the season at Wrigley Field for the Brewers. Zach Davies against Kyle Hendricks. It's a day for the changeup tomorrow between those two. Neither one of them have the power of a Jake Arrieta, but both can be very effective.
Yeah, Davies pretty good his last time out against the Reds. 3 runs in 6 innings.
Chris Coughlin with 2 away.
Matter of fact, that outing for Davies, the last quality start the Brewers have had. They've had 1 in the last 10 starts.
And Jake Arrieta's had 18 straight.
Right.
Coughlin in an 0-2 count. Brewers will head to St. Louis after tomorrow night's game. 4-game series with the Cardinals. And don't forget Saturday night's game is on FS1. I believe the Cubs and the Brewers Saturday game at Miller Park is going to be picked up by the national network as well. That's a rumor. It's a rumor with legs, though.
If it's gotten to you, it's no more than a rumor.
All I'm saying is, Rock, get your boat gassed up.
You think?
We're all going to be on it. Listening to Bob Uecker.
You're not going to work it?
No.
You're working Saturday, though, in St. Louis. Who are you working with?
C.J. Nitkowski.
Nice.
He's a fine gentleman. You know what I like about C.J.? Among other things, but he spent a lot of time in Asia. Played in Japan. He's got a good feel for baseball in Asia, Korea, Japan, and the Korean baseball market starting to open up now. That's
becoming a big deal here.
Jung Ho Gung had such a great year. There are more coming, more being posted for him.
Yeah, Gung broke his leg.
Hip Sok Sun will be next. There's a strikeout. Knebel gets out of the inning with a couple of Ks, but a run is in, and we are headed to the ninth. 4-0 Cubs. By Potawatomi Hotel and Casino. Book your stay now. Our AT&T U-Verse rewind as we hit the ninth inning. Chris Bryant with a 2-run home run with 2 outs in the third inning off Cravey. Gave the Cubs the lead. They have not looked back. They added one in the 5th inning on an RBI from Schwarber, and then Bryant drove in another run in the 8th. And meanwhile, Jake Arrieta on top of his game here tonight.
There's some nasty off-speed stuff. He's got the 2-seamer, the cutter working as advertised tonight.
And he is back out there to try to finish this one off. He got a huge ovation as he came out of the dugout. Cubs had Travis Wood warming up. They now have their closer Rondon loosening. Chris Coughlin will move over to left field. That is because Austin Jackson takes over in right field. So the Cubs are as good as they can be defensively right now. And Logan Schaefer trying to spoil the party a little bit as a Cub went off his stool over there. A foul ball hit the net. David Ross is laughing. Who went down? Schwarber? He's okay. He's going to be okay. He got decleated by that foul ball.
Everything's funny when you're winning.
That's the truth. The wise old veteran hanging out with the young kid. Meanwhile, Arrieta's got his game face on. And a call, strike 3. That's number 10 for Arrieta.
Yep, and 219 strikeouts on the season. Man, that one catching the inside corner, that two-seamer.
Adam Lynn late on the fastball. This has been a stress-free night for Arrieta. Brewers have hardly scratched the surface.
They've only had one man at second base.
That was Jeanette's double, the first batter of the game. Arrieta is looking for his 4th complete game of the season. His earned run average is now in the 1/8. He's getting closer and closer to Zach Greinke. Oh-2 pitch.
Changeup.
Count remains at 0-2.
Working them all still.
With his 10 strikeouts tonight, Arrieta has tied Madison Bumgarner of the Giants for 3rd in the league. He now leads the league in innings pitched. Got him.
Just nasty. Best curveball we've seen this year. That
Hands
pitch
down.
right there. I mean, and there's none been close.
The Brewers have 3 hits, 2 of them infield hits. 11 strikeouts. Just a dominating performance. His no-hitter was one of the more dominant no-hitters in recent memory against the Dodgers. This is right up there. He's given up hits, but it's up there.
And struck out the side in his no-hitter in the 9th.
The 4 complete games would tie for the MLB lead if he does it. Burley, Bumgarner, and Kluber have all finished 4 games. Would be the 5th of his career, but the 4th this season. Two and 1 to Chris Davis. 3 balls and a strike. Just the 1 walk tonight for Arrieta. Walked Maldonado in the 8th. Pitch count will go to 120. It's the 3rd most in his career. But again, you have to take into effect the high stress pitches, and he hasn't had many tonight.
Yeah, just the first inning.
He's been pitching from the windup most of the night, which is an abbreviated windup anyway. Fly ball slicing into the seats.
Season high for Arrieta, 122.
And the Wrigley faithful want a strikeout to end it.
Hanging tough. Tough pitch. Davis able to just get a piece of it.
Arrieta tonight with just 32 pitches of his 121 from the stretch. That gives you an idea how dominant. This next pitch will match a career high. And his 20th win is right there for him. 3-2 on the way, and a foul ball. Davis is hanging tough. Arrieta had a 12 strikeout game in that no-hitter. He can tie that mark with a strikeout here. His career best is 13. Payoff pitch again. And on the ground, second base. Baez will make the play, and a dominating performance by Jake Arrieta. His 20th win. First time since 01 a Cub has 20 wins in a season. 11 strikeouts, a shutout, and Jake Arrieta is one step closer to a Cy Young award.
You hate to see the Brewers lose. You know you root for him, but that is impressive. You love to see a guy at his best, and Jake Arrieta once again tonight shows you he's maybe the best starting pitcher in the National League this year.
Well, Jake Arrieta is the man of the hour here at Wrigley Field. The Cubs win again. And a final score of 4-0. Arrieta, with his 20th victory of the season, goes to 20-6. Let's send it down to Craig Kashaw, standing by with Davey Nelson. It's time for Brewers Live.
Okay, B.A., thanks very much. It was a